On December 20, 2018, Congress authorized the creation of a gold medal honoring the contributions Chinese Americans made to the war effort during the Second World War. The original medal was given to the Smithsonian Institution, where it is available for display and made available for research. On July 7, 2021, an appreciative community watched as Senator Tammy Baldwin bestowed a replica of that gold medal to Dr. David Toy. Dr. Toy's family and friends were present at the ceremony. Several news outlets were present, including WTMJ4.
Positively Milwaukee now, more than 20,000 Chinese Americans served in World War II. Now, 76 years after the war ended, they're being honored. One veteran from Brookfield just received his Medal of Honor. Sarah McGrew was at the ceremony.
Dr. David Toy was just 17 years old and a student here at West Division High School when Pearl Harbor was attacked. He wanted to join the Army right away, but was too young. A few years later, he was drafted.
A no-brainer to go into the service.
Today, Dr. Toy is 97 years old. He was born in Hong Kong, but became a U.S. citizen while serving.
We all went down to the recruiting center. They turned us down because we were too young. But then a couple months later, they decided they were going to recruit us.
He entered the war in 1943 and was dispatched to the China-Burma-India front as a technician.
My job was to decode messages.
1 in 5 Chinese Americans joined the armed forces between 1941 and 1946.
Thousands of Chinese Americans who served our nation during World War II, including Dr. Toy, unfortunately did not receive the proper recognition.
In 2018, the Chinese American World War II Congressional Medal Act was signed, authorizing all those who served to receive a replica of the Congressional Gold Medal. Senator Baldwin presented Dr. Toy with his award on Wednesday.
These veterans now join a short list of other military units that overcame discrimination, language barriers, and assimilation challenges to serve in the armed forces.
Other groups who have received this honor include the Tuskegee Airmen, the Native American Code Talkers, the Women's Air Service pilots, and the Filipino American veterans. Reporting in Milwaukee, Sarah McGrew, TMJ4 News.
Another news outlet at the ceremony was the Scripps Network. Dr. David Toy was just 17 years old when Pearl Harbor was attacked. He tried to join the U.S. Army, but he was told he was too young. A few years later, in 1943, David was drafted and sent to the China, Burma, India front. He would encode and decode messages. David was born in Hong Kong during a visit to Hong Kong by his mother. Since his mother was not a U.S. citizen, David was not a U.S. citizen. David received his citizenship during his time in the Army. He was among more than 20,000 Chinese Americans to serve during World War II. Only recently have those veterans been honored. A 2018 law made all those who served between 1941 to 1946 eligible to receive a replica of the Congressional Gold Medal. David recently received his from Senator Tammy Baldwin during a special ceremony on July 7, 2021.
Where's Jana?
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I'm so delighted that I get to be part of this. Hello. Nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here. That's a nice one. How are you? Very good. Yourself. Don't worry about it.
Testing. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. What a wonderful crowd, a beautiful day. And we're here to celebrate Dr. David Toy. I hope that's why you're here, right? Or is it to have a nice buffet afterwards? We don't know. But good afternoon to all of you. We're so pleased to see all of you here. I mean, it's a wonderful crowd, and I'm sure that David Toy is humbled by all this attention he's been getting. We will hear more about David and all the other Chinese Americans that have served in the past. On behalf of the Wisconsin chapter of the Organization of Chinese Americans and the Community Baptist Church Golden Age Club, we're happy today to recognize him for his U.S. military service. We have learned a lot about David in the last couple years, and we're happy to present it to you guys. We'd like to thank Tony and Martha Lamb for their diligent effort in spearheading this special event, and for those who graciously and positively responded. So welcome to family and friends. We all are family and friends here today. And we are also honored to have Senator Tammy Baldwin with us and with all of our special guests. Too many to mention, but I think they will be properly introduced a little later by Tony. We will now start the program with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by singing of the national anthem. So we all stand.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's a good voice.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, it proved through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good afternoon. First of all, I'm going to ask you to pardon me for forgetting your name because I didn't expect this event to be so many people here. And first of all, I want to be on behalf of the Organization of Chinese Americans. Thank you for coming to participate this very significant event to recognize Dr. David Toy's service to our country, and by extension to the 20,000 Chinese Americans who participated in World War II. My name is Tony Lamb. I am a longtime member of OCA Wisconsin chapter and a relatively new member for the Golden Age Club. I first met Dr. Toy about a little bit more than 2 years ago, right in this very same place, over the home-cooked meal by I think Eddie. But Golden Age Club, that was courtesy of the Milwaukee County Department of Aging, Anna Wong, who was a volunteer, and many other volunteers who make this program possible. In the following months, I learned that David grew up on the west side of Milwaukee, and he attended West Division High School on Highland Boulevard, where my late mother-in-law and her sister were also a student. And I was delighted later that David brought his high school yearbook where I can find my mother-in-law and her sister playing in the school symphony orchestra. And over the recent Friday night fish fry, as the American Legend post, that I learned Dr. Toy also served in World War II, stationed in Kunming, China. Dr. Toy came from a prominent Chinese American family in Milwaukee. His father, Charlie Toy, built this toys building in downtown Milwaukee, a 6-story high building covered with terracotta, and it was in 1915, right? That was the home of the Toys Chinatown restaurant and the Toys Crystal Palace in Milwaukee. For 2 decades, it was a landmark in downtown. Dr. Toy is one of 9 children of his late father, Moy Toy. I only discovered recently that 3 of my younger siblings worked at Toys restaurant on and off during the 1970s. And David was the only child who was only the child of a family of 9, right? A family of 9 who was born in Hong Kong while his mother was visiting relatives in 1923. Because his mother was not a US citizen at that time, so David was deprived of his citizenship because he was born overseas. Upon graduation from West Division in 1941, David and other boys from the senior class went down to the Army recruitment office, and they were turned down because they were so young. So instead, he went to college, UW Medicine, and majored in experimental psychology and English. You remember, because I forgot. And the situation changed after December 7, 1941, after the attack of Pearl Harbor, and Dr. Toy was inducted into the Army in 1943. He received his military training in Camp Crowder in Missouri, and then further training in Stanford University in Palo Alto. And he was dispatched to the China-Burma India Theater in early 1945. After a month-long journey by sea to India, and then by air over the hump or the Himalaya, he landed in Kunming, China, and he was assigned to the Signal Corps as a technician. Other members of David's family also answered the country's call to arms. His younger brother Paul served on the Western Front and fought in the Battle of the Bulge. And his uncle Gordon, by the name of Bockling Toy at that time, was a gunner with the 32nd Infantry Division from Wisconsin. I think they were known as the Red Arrow Division, right? Thank you. And a newspaper article in the 1940s reported Gordon Toy participation in the Pacific Theater and was wounded at the Battle of Luzon after he shot down 4 Japanese soldiers. David's cousin, Alfred Toy, was also an Army engineer in New Guinea, and Alfred's wife, Grace, was a nurse at Camp Edwards in Massachusetts. In all, Charlie Toy, David's grandfather, has 1 son, 3 grandsons, and 1 granddaughter-in-law in the military, all at the same time. And I have to proudly say David's son, Chris, was also in the Air National Guard for more than 20 years. David was discharged from active duty in March 1946, and then he finished college, went on to not medical, you were rejected from medical school, right? You have to tell the story why you were rejected, because that was a good story. And then he said he was rejected, he walked over the next door and enrolled in the dental school, and then he finished with his dentistry, and then practiced it until he was 90 years old when he sold his practice in 2014. And your Kathy, if I make any mistake, you let me know, because Kathy was his assistant for a long, long time. After the Chinese Exclusion Act was repealed in December 1943, David became a U.S. citizen while he was still in the military. He is deeply patriotic. The flag behind me was a gift from David, as was all the American pin, the flag pin that you just received today was a gift from David Toy. He was also known as the flag man, who planted a lot of flag in the mailboxes in his condo complex. And if you go over to his condo area, you would recognize his house immediately for the big flag that was hanging in front of his garage. The Chinese American Veteran of World War II medal is long overdue to recognize the service of Dr. Toy and to our country. And we are delighted that Senator Baldwin is able to take time out from her busy schedule to present this award to Dr. Toy. And at this point, I'd like to have Mr. John Gaylord, who is Veteran Affairs Officer with Officer Capital. Former, yes, to give us a little description of the medal.
Yeah, thank you all for coming today. It's a huge honor.
You have to hold pretty close to your mouth.
Can everybody hear me without this?
Yeah.
All right then.
The Zoom can't.
Good.
No, the Zoom has a separate. Oh, okay.
Perfect. Okay. I'll try and be a little louder than normal just in case you can't. But I don't want to hold additional thing. I brought my speech here with this though. First, Dr. Toy, it is such an honor to be a part of this today. I can't thank and express gratitude to you enough. Thank you for this moment. A little background on the Congressional Gold Medal. Since the American Revolution, Congress had commissioned gold medals as its highest expression of national appreciation for distinguished achievements and contributions. Today we are all here gathered together to bestow this honor upon Dr. David Toy. This medal, Congress's most prestigious civilian award, commemorated the thousands of Chinese Americans who enlisted in all branches of the United States Armed Forces and served in all theaters of conflict. At that time, 1 in 5 Chinese Americans joined the armed forces between 1941 and 1946. The Chinese American World War II Veterans Congressional Gold Medal Act of 2018 awards a Congressional Gold Medal collectively to the Chinese American veterans in recognition of their service to the United States during World War II. These veterans now join a short list of other military units that overcame discrimination, language barriers, and assimilation challenges to serve in the armed forces. Those include the Tuskegee Airmen, the Native American Code Talkers, the Women's Air Service pilots, the Filipino American veterans, and now the Chinese American veterans. So for that, we owe you a great deal of gratitude. Thank you, Dr. Toy. Thank you both.
Thank you, John. Pleasure. Thank you so much for able to
Thank you.
be part of this. At this point, I wanted to say we are honored that U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin was able to participate in this very significant event for the Chinese community. Would you like to step up? Senator Baldwin was first elected to the House of Representatives in 1998, and she has served in the U.S. Senate since 2012. Throughout her career in public service, Senator Baldwin has a strong record of working hard for the Wisconsin veteran. She has a special focus on making sure that our veterans, military families, and wounded warriors receive the support and care they earned and deserve. And Senator Baldwin was a co-sponsor of the legislation that created the Chinese American Veteran World War II Medal. At this time, I would like to give this mic over to Senator, and you have to hold it close to your mouth.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, thank you so much for that.
My wife said that I have to invite David to come up
Oh,
over here
yes.
because you're going to give the award.
Are you ready?
David?
Yep.
Yeah, I have a few remarks to make first.
Yes, please.
Please. So I am I'm so honored to join this assembly and to be a part of this incredible recognition. And I can't tell you what an honor it is to be here recognizing you, Dr. Toy. It is. I also want to thank some of the folks who made this event possible. Ms. Brown, Ms. Wong, Mr. Lam, and the Organization of Chinese Americans for organizing this event and hosting us all here today. I'm also very grateful to the Veterans Service Organizations and the County Veterans Service Officer, Mr. Gadish, who worked so hard to provide support and recognition to all of our Wisconsin veterans. This past weekend, we all got together and were with family and loved ones to celebrate Independence Day. But whether it was watching the fireworks or grilling out or perhaps having a cold one, we must never forget who fights for us to have that freedom and that independence, and who defends our democracy and the freedoms we all cherish so deeply. It's folks like Dr. Toy. And it's why I'm so proud to help honor his service today. Now, as we have just heard, we know that thousands of Chinese Americans who served our nation during World War II, including Dr. Toy, unfortunately did not receive the proper recognition that they deserved for their service to the United States of America. And that's why on December 2018, the Chinese American World War II Congressional Medal was signed into law, authorizing the award collectively to the Chinese American veterans of World War II in recognition of their dedicated service. I was proud to co-sponsor this legislation, and on December 9, 2021, Congress completed this act by awarding the Congressional Medal virtually to over 20,000 Chinese Americans who served in World War II. It is a privilege to be here today to present this award to Dr. Toy in person, not virtually. And Dr. Toy, your patriotic service to our country will never be forgotten. Today, we join as a community to honor you for your service in protecting and defending the American freedoms that we hold dear. We must also remember all of our brothers and sisters who have served and all of those who are still serving in the military today. They are always in our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers. Now I am honored and humbled to present to you, Dr. Toy, the medal. I wish I could pin it on you, but should we take it off?
Dr. Toy, would you like to say a few words to all your friends and your supporters and your fans?
I just want to tell you that was a no-brainer to go into the service. The day that we heard that Pearl Harbor happened, we all went down to the recruiting center. They turned us down because we were too young, but then a couple months later, they decided they were going to recruit us. So I wound up going, and no problems. I was brought up that way. Brought up to salute the flag, sing the national anthem, Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know what happened. We're not doing that as much now today. And I do hope that we will get them to get rid of CRT, some of them, well, better not mention any other things. But anyway, teach them the American way and why we have such a wonderful country and why people want to come here. So God bless America. Thank you all for coming here. And it's an honor to see so many friends and Americans here in this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. Thank you, Senator. Before I introduce our next speaker on the program, Commander Alex Colander, I wanted to just recognize some people who were here that we did not plan to, because again, this thing was kind of put in together kind of in a haste. First of all, we have Shannon How? Correct me, please. Who represent U.S. Representative Fitzgerald's office, who was here. Lisa from the Waukesha County Executive Paul Farrell's office, who was over here. I hope I did not. And all the friends from the American Legion Post 449. 449. I'm an accountant, but I can't keep up with those numbers. I should have taken it out from your I want to borrow one. So at this time, I want to just give a little introduction about our next speaker, Commander Callender. Commander Callender was a first sergeant at the U.S. Army, retired with 34 years of services. He was graduated of the U.S. Army Sergeant Major Academy. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice, Commander of American Legion Post 449, Brookfield, Wisconsin. Welcome.
Thank you.
You don't need that.
No, 34 years in the Army will give you enough voice to talk to people.
Or give orders.
Right. I grew up on a dairy farm over in Sussex area. I got sick of milking cows twice a day, 7 days a week. I asked my dad if I could join the Army and went to Waukesha to the recruiting station. I was going to be a Marine. They were closed. What? I'll go to Air Force. They were closed. The Army was open. That's how I got there. And 34 years later was a wonderful life, a great life. Okay. Thank you, Tony. I welcome everyone in honoring Dr. David Toy for this presentation of the Chinese American World War II Veterans Service Medal. I have the privilege of serving as a commander of American Legion Post 449, the largest Legion post in the state of Wisconsin. I'm honored to be part of this ceremony that has been long in the making to recognize service of Chinese soldiers who served during World War II and helped in the war effort. How commendable is the fact that Dr. Toy, who along with his fellow Chinese Americans were facing immense discrimination at that time, served in America's war effort with a great determination to be of service to the same country currently discriminating against him, conducting himself in such an effort to do so that he received 4 previous medals for his effort. Can you and I even comprehend what Dr. Choi went through during those war years, in theater, during such a conflict and hardship that he daily experienced, with the end result being our freedom that we experience today as a result of his effort, along with many of his race. I'm honored to be part of this presentation and to represent the American Legion. We are a patriotic organization, veterans organization, focusing on service to veterans, service members, and communities. I salute Dr. Toy, his dedication to duty, and his long and storied life. May God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Callender.
Thank you, sir.
thank you for your service to the country and for your continual work with the American Legion Post to connect the veteran with the citizens. And at this point, I want to thank all of you for coming to this very significant.
I forgot about dinner right after
Oh,
this.
that will be coming next. you may go broke after this. I'll help you to get a second mortgage on this. And thank you all for just coming to this very wonderful event to honor the service of Dr. David Toy to our country, as well as for the 20,000 Chinese American who sacrificed and who weren't able to make it to this particular occasion, or they passed away before we have a chance to recognize them, and for all of those who serve and continue to be serving our country. So now we come to the most important part of this event is that Dr. Toy wants to invite you to a free lunch at the New China Buffet on Highway 100. For those of you,
Give the specific.
oh, the address? You didn't put it down for me. Oh, you did. I blame mine. The address is 2830 South 108th Street. I think it's the corner of Lincoln or National, somewhere around there anyway. Just don't go across the street because there are two other Chinese restaurants. And for those of you who are not able to join us for the lunch, we have a little cake here. You're going to have a very tiny little piece of cake because we didn't expect that show up. So, well, I guess that's it. Thank you so much.
Your nation, your family, and your friends thank you for your service. Your service helped keep us free, and we appreciate you.